Hey everyone, how's it going? And welcome to a new series I'm going to be starting, where I take a look at an anime that's airing this season that I think deserves more attention, and shine a spotlight on it to hopefully get some more people to check it out. And today we're taking a look at The Duke of Death and His Maid. And The Duke of Death and His Maid follows a duke who got a curse put on him by a witch that makes it so that any living thing he touches dies. And because of this curse, his family shunned him and sent him away to live by himself. Fortunately, he's not entirely alone. He lives with his maid Alice, who constantly flirts with the Duke to make him feel less miserable. And he also lives with his butler Rob. And while it's kind of a depressing premise, it makes for a really fun romantic comedy anime. And what makes it work so well is the way they balance the lighthearted parts of the story with the darker parts of it. As the maid Alice flirts with the Duke, his feelings for her continue to grow, and it makes it more depressing the more he falls in love with her, since he'll never be able to touch her. But her flirting with him also helps him out a lot, because it helps him to forget about the very sad curse he has. And while it may seem like Alice doesn't care about her life and wants to die, since she's always getting very close to the Duke, that's actually not the case. Alice flirts with and gets really close to him to help him feel better, because she also has feelings for the Duke and she doesn't want to see him sad all the time. So she's okay with risking her life by getting close to him. And the writing for the Duke and Alice's characters is another thing that makes this anime work so well. They're both written really well and have great chemistry with each other. Alice, who is definitely the best girl of this series, and depending on where the story goes, could be one of the best girls in anime, and she also has a really nice maid outfit, which is great. But anyways, she's a really great character, and at first I didn't feel like there was very much to her character, but as the episodes go on, she slowly becomes a better and better character. And I think Alice is pretty funny too. Most of the comedy has to do with her making the Duke freak out with her getting close to him and flirting, but she does it in a way where you can tell she's teasing the Duke on purpose, but pretends that she's not doing anything, and it's pretty funny. And then you have the Duke, who's a little awkward and seems very distant from people, but with the way he grew up, it makes perfect sense. His own mother sent him away to live alone, and almost everyone he's met has treated him like a monster. So of course he would be distant from people and be a little awkward, since he's never even had the chance to make friends like a normal person, and was rejected by his own family. But him meeting Alice has started to make him feel more accepted by people, and even though he still has to deal with feeling depressed, Alice has greatly reduced that feeling. And while at the time of recording there's only 8 episodes out, I think that they've done a great job with their characters so far, and it feels like you've known these characters longer than just 8 episodes. Now, real quick, there's one thing that I think I should address, and that's the animation. I'm sure you've already noticed since you've been looking at the animation this whole time, but this anime is fully 3D. And I think when most anime fans hear that, it immediately turns them off to a series. But the 3D animation here is not bad. Like, it is definitely not Berserk 2016 levels of bad. Out of all the 3D anime I've seen, which admittedly is not much, it's the second best I've seen, the first being Beastars. But I wanted to mention the animation because I know some people won't even give this anime a chance just because of the animation. So this is one that I urge you to give a shot even if you don't like the animation, because I don't think it's that bad. Honestly, I wasn't a fan of the 3D animation at first, but it's actually started growing on me and I kinda like it now. The 3D animation also sometimes works well with the comedy. It might just be me, but the reaction faces of the characters are more funny with the quirkiness of the 3D animation. I don't know why, but when, for example, a character freaks out or is shocked by something, and their eyes pop out of their head, it's more funny with this animation. So now moving on, I want to talk about the side characters. First off, you have the butler Rob, who's just a really nice old man and is pretty damn good at being a butler despite his age. There's also the Duke's little sister, who's pretty funny. She shows up from time to time and usually gives the Duke romance advice, but is terrible at putting her own advice into action when Rob, who she's in love with, is around. And it's really funny. Then there's 2 other side characters that get introduced a little later on, and once they do, it makes the world feel bigger. The characters I'm talking about are Cuff and Zane, who are both witches that, of course, can't cure curses, but they can do magic like creating fire. And they're both pretty likable characters. Cuff is a bit of a tsundere towards Zane because she gets mad at him when he's flirtatious with Alice, but won't admit she likes him even though it's pretty obvious. And then you have Zane, who's very laid back but gets serious when he needs to, and like I was saying earlier, he's flirtatious with Alice, Alice, which makes the Duke and Cuff upset with him. And overall, both Zane and Cuff are pretty great side characters that add a lot of great humor to the anime. And once they get introduced, it makes the world feel bigger, and it made me more interested in this world. Because up to that point, we had heard the Duke was cursed by a witch, and we've seen his power kill flowers and trees. But we never saw any witches. And at times, it made me forget that this story takes place in a fantasy world. So 2 witches getting introduced and becoming friends with the Duke and Alice leads to more fantasy elements being a part of the story. And I'm really interested to see what they do as the story goes on, to see if more magical elements will be mixed into the story or not. I also like that this fantasy setting is more of a fairy tale setting, not the anime fairy tale, but the fairy tale stories. Like the Duke getting cursed by a witch is similar to Snow White, and I really like that because I haven't seen many anime tell stories in a fairy tale type setting, so it's kind of refreshing seeing a different take than usual on magic and the fantasy genre in general. And the world of this anime is probably going to make me go and read the manga, because I'm so interested in this world and seeing what happens to the characters. But I would highly recommend you check out this anime. And if you're really not digging the animation, then maybe try out the manga, because there's a lot of really great things in this series that I think a lot of people would like. And if you like Kaguya-sama, then I think you would really enjoy this series too. And that's about it for this video. You can expect to see a video like this one in the next anime season as well, to highlight seasonal anime that might have flown under people's radars. And if you enjoyed this video, subscribing and liking the video would help me out a lot, and I'd really appreciate it. So I'll see you all next time in my next video.